Welcome back to the show, guys. I'm your host, Valentine. Expecting you guys are having a wonderful and blessed day. Let's get right into it right away. And I plead with you guys, if you have not watched something that is gonna make you say at the end of the day, I learned something today, this is the video to watch. Expecting you guys are having a wonderful and blessed day. So let's get right into it right away. We're going to talk about not conspiracy theories, right? There's a lot of conspiracy theories out there regarding the coronavirus. Today, we're going to talk about some facts. It all stems from a video in the Valutainment YouTube channel. And the interview is with, which I'll probably leave a link down below in YouTube if you want to go check out the whole video, which I recommend. Is it about an hour long? But go watch it. What are you doing? You're probably doing nothing in your home. Go watch it. Patrick Ben-David, I think is his name, Pat, right? He interviews Danielle DiMartino Booth. She goes, is at the end of the video, she goes and she gives some information regarding a timeline, a very crucial timeline that is going to forget about the 5G conspiracy, forget about whether it was done in a lab, forget about all that stuff. Whether the coronavirus, did the Chinese knew about what was going on before they decided to close Wuhan down? Let's get into the timeline. January 15th. The signing of the phase 1 deal. Listen to this. It's going to make sense whether you know nothing that's going on regarding this whole economics and world politics, geopolitics. It's going to make 100% sense to you. January 15th. What happened on January 15th? That's the day that the United States government and the Chinese government signed the phase 1 deal regarding this whole China, economic war that they have in between United States and China. In the agreement, they agreed that the Chinese government was going to buy about $200 billion worth of products to the U.S. They were going to stop forcing United States countries and whatnot to give up all the information before they do business in China, if I'm not mistaken. All that stuff was in there, right? But the main thing was the $200 billion agreement that they were going to purchase U.S.-made goods in China. Perfect. In December, listen to this. The Chinese come, while they are working on the framework of this big deal, the Chinese come to the U.S. negotiators and they ask for something very, very, very peculiar. What is that? What is that? According to the Huffington Post, and to this lady too, Danielle DiMartino, she says that the Chinese requested a special clause in the contract. The clause is a natural disaster. She calls it a pandemic clause, meaning if something inevitable happens, right? A natural disaster or something inevitable happen, an act of God, we are able to exit this deal that the United States signed in January 15. Meanwhile, in the background, we already have confirmed cases of the coronavirus. This is going on, right? If you guys don't remember, December 1st was the first day that they confirmed the coronavirus. So this means that in November, the thing must have been brewing already. They have, she also says that there's word going around that in November, this new pneumonia is going around in Hubei province in Wuhan, right? Important. Look at the date. End of December, the Chinese request this special clause. In January 15th, they signed the deal. In January 23rd, they closed down Wuhan. So this essentially means, if it's true, that the Chinese knew that they had a huge problem on their hand before they even signed this phase 1 deal. Hence, they're insistent of putting this clause into the contract. If this is true, this literally needs to go in China has to go in court to explain why they decided that they wanted this special clause, which is On top of that, it's not common in world trade agreements. It's common in commercial agreements. For example, I have a company and I do a deal with another company, and I say, well, listen, if if a tornado comes, I'm not responsible for buying the whatever product I said from your company. That makes sense from company to company. But world economies are literally immune to localized natural disasters such as flooding, a hurricane, or something like that. What happens if there's a hurricane in a province of China? It doesn't affect the whole economy. It affects the local economies. Hence, there is no need to put a clause like this if there is what it seems, if they didn't know that the coronavirus was spreading like wildfire. Let's get into how China lied and people died, literally. And it's so sad to see how the media has very gullible Americans going against their country when the enemy is overseas, when the enemy is somewhere else. China lied. Why do I say that China lied? Oh, it's very easy. Even if you don't know the numbers, just look how in Wuhan, how the spread was. And let's compare it to, for example, how it was in Italy, the spread there. Italy passed in cases and in death Wuhan. How did Spain also had the major outbreak that it had there? How is it that in New York, in the state of New York, we have more cases and more death than in where the outbreak happened? Either one thing happened. Either the Chinese are an incredible infectious diseases experts and they was able to slow this thing, or they lied. And it's pointing more towards the later. Why? Because 2 days ago, the Chinese reported an increase of the death in Wuhan by 50%. They added 1,290 new deaths to the numbers. And I still do not believe the Chinese with these new numbers. Why? Because they are liars. How is it possible that other places have more cases than them? New York City has 8.5 million. Wuhan has 11 million. How is it that there are more cases in New York City than they are in Wuhan, where there are more people? How is that even possible? They are straight up lying. But the media has Americans who are very gullible, sadly, they don't question things, have them going against their president, saying that there was a lax in the response. If there was a lax in the response of the United States, so there was also a lax in the response in Italy. So there was also a lax in a response in Spain, because they were acting under information provided to the United States by China and this other entity that needs to be held accountable, which is the WHO, the World Organization of Health, by his director Tedros Adhanom. Donald Trump has announced that he has suspended funding to the WHO, which is great, and he's diverging it. I forgot where I read he's diverging it to. I think other causes regarding the pandemic. Right, the United States is the number one founder, the number one donator to the World Health Organization, and they are also to be held responsible. Why? Because they did not hold accountable China, given the information. This is very important. There's a video going around on the internet, which you go and Google it yourself. There of a I think she's Taiwanese, a Taiwanese reporter asking a very high official of the WHO about why doesn't Taiwan is allowed to be in the World Health Organization. For the people that don't know, Taiwan is an island off of the main line of China, which the Chinese government recognizes it as a province of there, but the Taiwanese recognize themselves as a sovereign nation, meaning they're a country on their own, but China wants them to be a part of them. The WHO does not recognize Taiwan as a sovereign country. Why? Because China said so. Just that simple. China said not to recognize Taiwan as a separate country, so we're not gonna separate. We're not gonna acknowledge them. And this is very important. Why? Because December 31st, Taiwanese health officials contacted the WHO and told them that they were being contacted by doctors in mainland China, telling them that the doctors were being infected with a new type of pneumonia. Pneumonia is caused by the coronavirus. My father, who tested positive for the coronavirus and is doing very good, thank God. He's recovering from the pneumonia right now that caused, which is an infection in the lungs. So Taiwanese officials, health officials, contacted the WHO and told them, "Yo, listen, in mainland China, my boy told me that the doctors there are getting the disease." And what did the WHO did because China does not permit them? They pay no attention to what the Taiwanese people did. But as I was saying about the video before, there's a video going around online where a Taiwanese official, not a Taiwanese official, Taiwanese reporter asks a top official of the WHO, "What do you think of Taiwan? Right? Why don't you allow Taiwan to get into the WHO? Right?" And the guy just straight up just stays like this.
Would the WHO consider Taiwan's membership? Hello?
I'm sorry, I can't hear. I couldn't hear your question.
Okay, yeah. Let me repeat the question.
No, that's okay. Let's move to another one then.
Right, because I'm actually curious on talking about Taiwan as well, on Taiwan's case.
We decided to give Dr. Alward another call to follow up.
And I just want to see if you can comment a bit on how Taiwan has done so far in terms of containing the virus.
Well, we've already talked about China, and when you look across all the different areas of China, they've actually all done quite a good job. So with that, I'd like to thank you very much for inviting us to participate, and good luck as you go forward with the battle in Hong Kong.
He just fakes that he did not hear the question. And why do I say fake? Because the lady reasks him the question. He says, no, forget about that question. Let's go on to the next question. And then she asks him the question again. And then he looks down into the keyboard and it looks like he moves or presses something. And then the connection drops. And remember how the NBA or Chinese acted last year when the NBA they started ripping down posters and canceling events because I think it was an owner of the NBA was sent out a protesters tweet in Hong Kong. Hong Kong is another disputed territory for the Chinese because the Chinese want Hong Kong to be part of them. Hong Kong wants autonomy also. The WHO, the World Health Organization, needs to be held accountable too because they took China's word for it instead of let's look into what the Taiwanese are telling us. Let's go prove it for ourselves. The WHO was out there telling people that the coronavirus was not transmittable from human to human, wasting valuable time because of the information the Chinese gave to them, and they did not verify whether this information is true. This is very important. This is going to affect a couple of months coming in. We are getting into this. The Chinese are already naming that clause that they put in the thing, whether they're going to be able to, whether they want to get out or not fulfill some parts of that agreement. Things are going to be crazy. Things are going to get crazy because we have a president who really says what he's going to say or does what he's going to say and is really not backing down to anybody. So there will be repercussions from this. Look what China's doing now. They're just giving up things to people. Are they trying to buy the favor again of people? It's going to get crazy, and this is just the beginning of the repercussions of what's going to happen in the next couple of months. What you guys think? Damn, that was a big ramble there, man. I don't know if you guys are here with me right now, but if you are, congratulations. Give me a like, subscribe, hook it up. This channel is absolutely nothing without you guys. I need your comments. I need your like. We need everything here to be able to make this channel grow and to be able to get something new out there with there's no cursing, no stupidity, literally just straight up something that you literally could watch with your family members. God bless. Godspeed me, Valentine.